in Paris for the grand départ of the 2003 Tour de France, the Centenary Edition. It's been 40 years since the tour has started here, and the excitement is palpable. This year, it's starting with a prologue, a 6.5 kilometer flat route with a few corners where every detail will make the difference. As always, with a prologue, riders start after every minute, a constant flow of them, setting faster and faster times on the leaderboard. The first rider to really set a noticeable time was also a surprise. Hamar Zubeldia, the Basque rider, has set a 7-minute, 28.26 second pace, an average speed of 52.2 kilometers an hour. Meanwhile, the entire USPS team continues to set times that land them in the top 10, including Victor Hugo Peña. This is a very good sign, both of the overall strength of the team and their individual abilities for the rest of the tour, should the unthinkable happen and Armstrong have to leave the race for some reason. It's Jan Ullrich's turn to leave the start house and pass the Eiffel Tower. He'll be under scrutiny for every second of his ride today, as journalists, commentators, and rivals all search for a hint of what his form is like. Also starting is Australian Bradley McGee, a favor for the win today, and he is ready. Quote, "I was so nervous because I knew I was so on. I never felt so ready before that day." He'll need to be on form, and he is, setting the fastest time of the day at 7 minutes 26 seconds. Ullrich has also finished his ride and slots into third overall, just 2 seconds behind. A fine ride for the German. Now on course is David Miller, British time trial specialist, former time trial world champion, and Tour de France stage winner. He won the opening time trial at the Tour in 2000 and pulled on the yellow jersey. History could repeat itself today and give British cycling something to cheer about. At the midway time check, Miller has gone faster than McGee at 3 minutes 41 seconds, and he is on a tear. Heading up to the finish line, Miller's chain falls off the big chain ring up front, caused by a combination of the cobbled road and the removal of the front derailleur in order to save a few grams of weight, a plan concocted by the Cofidis manager. This is the 5th rider from Cofidis this happened to today, and this cost Miller the win by 0.08 seconds. Miller being angry was an understatement. Immediately after crossing the line, Miller, outraged, threw his bike in front of the staff. He grabbed the team sponsor by the shoulder and led him to the nearby Once team setup. Quote, "Look at the passion and heart they put into their kit. I've been saying for a long time that we lack this at Cofidis." This incident led to the Cofidis team manager being fired, but it was too late to rewrite the day. McGee was still in the lead. That brings it down to the last man, Lance Armstrong. He is riding in the yellow jersey, which is traditionally allowed, as it is the right of the winner of the last tour. Armstrong has never done it until this year in order to respect the race at the request of the organizers. However, it does not give him the fabled effect of the yellow jersey, and he finished in 7th overall. For everyone except David Miller, they would end the day in relative bliss, and McGee would be the happiest of them all. Quote, "It's like being in another world. It feels great. The dream of dreams is to hold onto the jersey as long as possible." With some of the pomp and circumstance completed, the riders will have to take on stage 1 next, and nerves are high as they always are on the first group stage. It's a long day in the saddle, one designed for the sprinters to open their account of stage wins. The prerequisite breakaway went off early in the day and has been caught, the script for the day being followed. As the race approaches the final 600 meters, it's the Fassa Bortolo squad that's in control, setting up Alessandro Petacchi. But all the other sprinters are there as well: McEwen, Zabel, and Italian champion Paolo Bettini. As they come out of the final corner, there is a massive crash, one that we will return to after the sprint, since the sprinters aren't waiting for anyone. Pataki takes the initiative by launching first at 250 meters to go, and the race is already over. He holds off everyone and takes his first Tour win. Now you're right that I'm the greatest sprinter because I'm able to beat riders like McEwen, Zabel, and Cipollini, but I wouldn't say a thing like that myself, even if I think so. It is up to you to write it. I am a very shy guy. Now we can turn our attention back to the crash, caused by both the riders and a curve that they weren't a fan of. Quote, I'd like to give kudos to LeBlanc for putting such a bad finish on the first stage of the Tour. I'm pulling at 60 kilometers an hour. You know that the last kilometer is at 70 kilometers an hour, and to put a corner like that in the sprint is completely idiotic. Freddie Rodriguez. The crash's damage to the race was huge. It took out around 30 riders total, including Armstrong and Simoni, but both walked away with just bruises. There was one contender who took the brunt of the damage and is now facing potentially leaving the Tour. It's the American Tyler Hamilton. He's broken his collarbone, and the stress in the team is palpable. Quote, this would be a catastrophe. He's our main guy for the Tour. No one expects him to start stage 2. Tyler Hamilton is starting stage 2, hopefully on a strong painkiller as he attempts to continue the Tour with his injury. Quote, Hamilton slept badly last night because of the pain, but he will do whatever he can to stay in the race as long as possible. Today's stage was tougher for the sprinters, but their teams still managed to pull back the breakaways. On the way to the finish, Pataki has been dropped, so it'll be a new winner today as the sprinters look for the stage and the green jersey of the sprint classification. And the finishing stretch, the yellow jersey takes the front, Brad McGee. He's leading out countryman, teammate, and friend Baden Cook. Cook makes McGee's effort worth it, with a dramatic turn of speed securing him the stage win, and the continent of Australia is having itself a tour. The two Australians had nothing but joy and excitement after the stage. Quote, it is a fantastic feeling to have the yellow jersey doing the lead out. Who could have imagined that? Brad normally leads me out all the time, but it's different when he is the maillot jaune. That just sums up Brad though. That's the kind of leader and guy he is. He doesn't expect all the other guys to do the job for him without returning the favors. Quote, it is really important to have a good team in moments like this when you are tired and stressed. In our team, we are always able to feel joy for whomever it is that takes the stage win. Yet another sprint stage lays ahead, but there's something to note about the stages in this year's Tour. There are intermediate sprints spliced throughout the stage. At each of these are time bonuses, 6 seconds for first place, 4 for second, and 2 for third. This is meant to animate the entire race, and today it has. Right now, less than 10 seconds separate the top 10 overall, which is full of sprinters. One of these men is Jean-Patrick Naison, a 26-year-old Frenchman from the Jean de la Tour team. At the end of last season, he was cut from the FDJ team, leaving Naison to sign for de la Tour last minute. Now he finds himself just 6 seconds behind McGee in the overall, and Naison has a plan. See, tomorrow it's a team time trial, which therefore means today is the last day a sprinter can take the yellow jersey. Naison launches this plan to get as much time at the intermediate sprints as he can in hopes of taking the lead. The Jean de la Tour team chases back the breakaway, and they reach the second sprint. If Naison wins, he'll be the virtual holder of the yellow jersey, and as long as McGee doesn't get any time bonuses the rest of the day, it'll be Naison's dream come true. Naison wins the sprint. McGee gets no other time bonuses. Pataki wins another stage, and that's all well and good, but Naison, taking yellow for a day, is the star. Moments like this, temporary glory, are what makes the Tour so special. I can't imagine wearing the maillot jaune until it's actually on my shoulders. I'm so happy to wear it for at least one day. Meanwhile, the green jersey battle heats up as well, McEwen is leading despite no stage win, but he's just 12 ahead of Zabel and 14 ahead of Pataki, then 24 back to Cook. But this battle will take the day off tomorrow. The team time trial, a showcase of collective strength if you do it right, or one of failure and ineptitude. The teams will face a 69-kilometer flat course on a hot, sunny day. And we start by looking at Team CSC. It's still being led, somehow, by Tyler Hamilton. He is one of the driving forces of the squad today. Quote, "We came up with a solid performance. As I see the stage, Tyler was the strongest man in the team. The time loss is acceptable. When we consider the circumstances, our performance lived up to the expectations. It impressed me to see how hard Tyler worked and to see how every rider in the team used all his energy in the effort." Bianchi gets underway and takes third, an ideal performance for Ulrich and his squad. Wunz takes second, putting Boloki in the driver's seat to launch attacks in the mountains. But it's the Blue Train of the United States Postal Service that will take the win, which is somehow their first team time trial win in the Tour. They were mostly carried by Armstrong and Hincapie, but the whole team rose above their station. There is one man on the team, though, that both rode incredibly and made history. Victor Peña has ridden into yellow, and is the first Colombian to ever wear it in Tour de France history. Quote, "Today, I have made a dream of mine come true, but it could not have happened if I had not been a part of the greatest team in the world." This is a historic moment that puts Colombia in the cycling records forever. After the Colombians started their attempt to conquest the European cycling scene, the interest for cycling in my country has increased tremendously. When a cyclist from Colombia wins something overseas, everyone will know it. When I was a kid, I used to sit in front of the radio for hours and listen to the reports from the Tour de France. After one day of GC excitement, the race is back in the hands of the sprinters. Local hero Frédéric Finot gets in the break, wins the KOMs, and gets a pole on the polka dot jersey at the end of the day. Another feel-good story for Jean de la Tour. But the story is still the sprinters, especially Alessandro Pataki, who takes home a third stage win. This does bear the question everyone is asking. Is he better than Cipollini? He suffers from the Cipollini syndrome. All sprinters do, really, but being Italian, he's got it worse. Everybody wants a crown of Super Mario. As a sprinter, he has the same style. He is very strong at the moment, but he can be beaten. Pataki is a fair sprinter. As a human being, he differs a lot from Mario. In the race, we greet each other, although he's my biggest opponent, McEwen. If you ask me where I rank Pataki, I'll tell you, right at the top. Cook. For his part, Pataki is incredibly confident in his skills and talent. Quote, "Everyone wants to know what would have happened if Cipollini had been here. I'm not sure the outcome of the races would be any different if he were. I could beat him in the Giro, and I don't see why I couldn't do the same thing here. I wish people would stop talking about him, because he is not at this race, while I hope I have made it pretty clear to everyone that I am." Despite all of his wins, McEwen is still carrying the green jersey, but just by a single point. Australian SBS TV interviewed national champion Stuart O'Grady, who is not happy with how things are going. Quote, "Today, I had the perfect position coming out of the last corner behind Brad and Cook. I hesitated a bit and it went pear-shaped from there. A moment of hesitation and it was all over. I'm starting to find my condition a bit." O'Grady has definitely found his condition. For almost 200 kilometers, he and young Frenchman Anthony Geslin have been in the breakaway. With 50 kilometers to go, they had a massive 8-minute lead. But with 25 to go, it was down to 3 minutes as the sprinters began chasing in earnest. But a crash with 8 kilometers to go in the peloton as they were chasing took out Robbie McEwen and Eric Zabel. Quote, "I don't know what happened. I just fell in the corner. Zabel fell, and I fell with him." It takes until the closing meters for the breakaway to be caught, and here is where, if you're smarter than me, you can insert some sort of metaphor about perspective and life. Or one about inevitability, as Pataki, swinging across the road, handily winning, even turns around and looks behind him, asking his competitors where they're at. He has now taken the green jersey, and McEwen has lost lead. Quote, not surprisingly, Robbie is in a dark mood. He's losing a lot of points on the green jersey. We keep on supporting him though, as the tour doesn't finish today. We are going to look at the classement tonight and see how much Robbie has lost and where his opponents are. Pataki, yes, but Cook, Zabel, and O'Grady also. It's not lost yet. Finally, the sprinters will be in the shadows of the day, struggling to survive on this first hot day in the Alps. A day with 5 categorized climbs, with 1 Cat 1 climb looming. The day does end with a descent, and it could be a day for the breakaway. There is one rider that isn't a day for, Alessandro Pataki. The heat and climb gets to him, and on just the first climb of the day, he drops out of the tour completely, which will shake up the sprint classification and stages, but we'll have to wait for the full impact of this action. Meanwhile, a breakaway is off the front, containing 2 riders from Quick-Step, Paolo Bettini, former stage winner, Italian national champion, and Milan-San Remo winner, along with Richard Virenque, who, 11 years ago, pulled on the yellow jersey for a day following a second-place stage finish. Since then, he's finished on the final podium in Paris twice, won 5 King of the Mountains jerseys, and 5 stages of the tour, always fighting and battling with panache, the way the French always have and always will. He's one of the most popular French riders, despite damning evidence of him doping in Operation Puerto and being suspended. The odds are that whoever wins today will be in yellow, as the peloton will be more interested in battling each other than anyone in the breakaway. And by the final climb, it's clear the break is staying away, reaching the climb with 8 minutes and 10 seconds in hand, as behind the peloton marches on to the beat of the USPS drum. Bettini picks up the pace first, then Virenque, and the 2 drop the rest of the breakaway for a bit. And then Rolf Aldag drags himself back. The rider from Telecom has been so agonizingly close to winning stages in the past, and he's not going to let another opportunity slip by so easily. Then Bettini drops, and then Aldag attacks, leaving Virenque in his wake. But today is a day of raw determination for everyone. Virenque might not be as incredible as he used to be, but he's still very good on a climb. He's keeping the gap steady, then closes it, and then pulls ahead. Now, all the pressure is on Virenque's shoulders as he puts everything into the descent, with dreams of yellow in his head. I was never afraid I would lack any strength today, because I rode on a good feeling and fought very hard. I received so much support from my fans along the roads, and that encouraged me tremendously. When he crosses the line, it's an outpouring of true emotion. Virenque knows the jersey will only be his for a day, but that day will be unlike any other. Behind, the GC saw a little action, outside of Simoni losing multiple minutes today, and Alexander Vinokourov stretching his legs with an attack. There was little to note. It's tomorrow then that a battle will begin, a mountaintop finish on Alpe d'Huez. There will be better days for trying to surprise Armstrong. I saw that Armstrong was good, and Ulrich was even better. For me, nothing has changed. Sooner or later, I'll have to take my chance. Virenque proved it was possible. When I attacked on the climb, I hoped to take some riders with me, because it wasn't possible to go alone. Cycling is an attacking sport. In the next episode, cycling is an attacking sport.